Hi everybody. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Connection Cafe. I'm Kate Wotherspoon, and I'm here every Wednesday at 9:30. And I don't think I've ever told you why I do this. I want people to gather together. I want to bring people together to be able to talk about death as if it's a natural part of life. Not that it's normal, but it's natural. I really hate that word normal because normal implies that it's the same for everybody. Natural is that you are born, you live, you die, and it's a natural part of life. So so I'd like to be able to have everybody talk to anyone about death and know that it's okay and not feel upset. Feel upset, feel your feelings, do, whatever you need. So today I'm going to be talking about waiting for someone to die. And I wrote that because some people think that this type of grief is waiting for someone to die, because it sort of is. It's called anticipatory grief. So you've been told that a member of your family, a loved one, is going to die. So then there's, all the what ifs and, oh no, there's the shock, there's the grief that you're going through. And you actually feel the same emotions as if they have died. But in a way, sometimes it's actually worse, because you're feeling the sadness for a long time, you're feeling the shock, you're feeling, that they're going, and what's your life going to be like when they're gone. So you might be changing your role. You might be a wife becoming a widow, a mother. And there's actually no name for parents who lose their child. The child who loses their parents is an orphan, but there is no word for parents losing a child, which I find interesting. So anticipatory grief is the process of finding out someone has died or something is going to happen that is life limiting. So why am I telling you this? Because I want you to be able to take care of yourself. I want you to do what you need to do in your life to be able to be with somebody who is dying and help that person who is dying as well. Because I have people with cancer, I have clients that come to me with cancer, and they talk to me because they feel so sad and they seriously cannot talk to their family about how they feel, about how they're going to miss their family, about, what's on the other side. So they're going through a process as well. And sometimes it's more difficult for the person who is dying than it is for the people who are around them. The people who are around them sort of gather together, gather support, do everything for this person who is sometimes incapacitated and can't do what they want to do. They may be too weak. They may be really strong people normally, like I am a terrible patient. I hate lying down. I hate people waiting on me. And it's really difficult for my family to take care of me because I absolutely hate it. Oh, who's there? Hi, Nicola. So it's really tough for me sitting, and I've had a few major operations. It is so horrible to just lie there and people go, "Are you okay?" Oh, hi, Samantha. Good to see you back. So to say you know, are you okay? Do you want anything? No, I don't want anything. I just want to lie here. So that's just, you know, the grief of being a patient and not having a life limiting condition. So I'll give you the example of my dad. My dad died of lung cancer 30 years ago. He was actually diagnosed by his doctor with pneumonia. Pneumonia for 2 years he had pneumonia. He never had an x-ray. Back then, doctors were right, you know, we didn't question them at all. So Dad got sicker and sicker and his cough got worse. And in the end, my cousin, Kathy, who was a nurse at that time, said, Uncle Norman, you have to go and get an x-ray. By this time, he'd had cancer and had cancer for a long time, and he couldn't be operated on. There was nothing they could do. So from that time, he was given 18 months to live. So our shock, the shock that our dad was dying so young, like he's my age actually, he's really, really young. I could not imagine dying right now. It was really uncomfortable for us then, because I didn't know the things that I know now. Like, Dad wanted to be happy all the time. He always watched, what were they? They were funny movies from the 30s. I can't remember them, but Dad used to love watching the movies, and Charlie Chaplin was a huge thing. So that's how he got through his day. But for us, you know, we were taking Dad to all his different doctors that I don't even know what they were doing because it wasn't treatable. So, you know, and trying not to tell Dad how sad we were. And in the end, like, my dad was so, you know, touchy-feely. He loved to be hugged. He loved to be kissed. And in the end, you know, he just couldn't be touched because the cancer was just so, the pain was so bad for him. So having the stages that I went through was, okay, let's get him better. Let's see all these specialists. Let's see what treatment we can have. Let's see what can be done for him. And then when specialist after specialist said, no, it's just too far. And I kept going and going. I wanted something good for Dad. And Dad found, you know, acupuncture helped. So we thought, great, acupuncture. Then high doses of vitamin C, which he had in his stomach every single day, massive doses. So this was like the hope, you know, that we could get him better and get him, you know, really well and living his life again. And he read book after book. He was an avid reader as well, and knew that he was living a good life. And in the end, Dad was a Buddhist. From being a strict Catholic, you know, he became a Buddhist, and really, I think Dad really enjoyed the end of his life. Not with the pain was too bad for him, but I think having his family around him for the support. So I went through, you've got to, you know, fix him. You've got to make my dad live longer. And then to the point where, okay, he's not going to live longer. So we're finding alternative stuff that's making him live, that's helping him live. And Dad believed in, you know, fun and, you know, happiness really, really made his life great. So went from the shock to shock and then support and, you know, to the, wow, now he's really looking ill. He is really, like, he was an 85 kilo man that went down to 30 kilos. And Dad had a NFR, which is not for resuscitation. So every time he went into hospital, he didn't want to be resuscitated. And that's a whole other story that I'll save for later. But, you know, in the end, it was like we were wanting him to die because we loved him so much. He didn't look or sound anything like himself. He'd been through a bronchoscopy that took his voice, and Dad was an opera singer. He had this most beautiful voice, and a real timbre in his voice when he spoke. He was this beautiful man, and then in the end, it was like, oh, just please take him, because he can't go through this anymore. And, we didn't get to talk to Dad about missing him because we didn't want to make him sad. But I think it's really important that you talk to your family, your loved one, that you're going to miss them, that they will be missed, that they meant something. Hi, Leanne. That they meant something to you. So, as I was saying before, I have clients who come to me who can't talk to their family. I would love you to, if you have someone that that has a life-limiting condition, disease, whatever you want, illness, talk to them. Talk to them about how they're feeling and just sit with them. Sit with how much you're going to miss them. Know that you're going to cry. Like, this is horrible, You've got this precious person. You've had their life, no matter how long, how short. You are going to miss them. And I think they need to know they'll be missed. Because, clients of mine, they just go, after the funeral, I want them to get on with their lives, which is what I used to say with my family. And with my family, I want them to mourn. I want them to know that I'm missed. Like, I was in their life and I made a difference to their life. I want them to mourn the way they want to. So everybody is different. Not everybody will go through anticipatory grief, which is sort of, I've called it waiting for someone to die, because people often don't know, what anticipatory grief is, because you're actually going through these different stages that I've spoken through, the shock, the support, the horror, the helping them to live a good life, and then the guilt of wishing them dead as well. And then the actual grief comes along after that. So they're actually two different things. So you've got the anticipatory grief, which, there was a paper that I read that said that anticipatory grief is like, I've got to read this. I'll read it out loud. Anticipatory grief gives the family and friends more time to slowly get used to the reality of loss. I'm not sure whether I agree with that, because you're fighting most of the time to help them to live. So whether that's living a good life or helping them to live as long as they possibly can, which can sometimes be detrimental. So, and yeah, there's a whole load more that I need to say about this, because it's like, some people fight and fight and fight when there isn't any fight left in that loved one, but the loved one wants to fight for the other person. So that's why the conversation is important. It's important to talk and really have that tough, like, it's a horrible conversation. I could not even imagine having that conversation with my dad, but sitting and listening to what they have to say would be great. So the one thing I want you to do today is self-care. Like, if you are a carer of someone who has a terminal illness, who has dementia, who has some sort of disability, that you are the carer, I want you to take care of you first, because you need to be the strong person. You need to fill you up first so you can give then. So the self-care can be going out to coffee with a friend, having your loved one in respite for a day, a week, or whatever, because it's so stressful. People don't realise how stressful it is taking care of another human being. You know, we talk about taking care of babies, but taking care of another human being who has a life-limiting illness or condition, that is a whole other story, because your life has gone off here. You're not expecting this part of your life to happen. So really take care of yourself. Have a cup of coffee with someone like this and talk. And really, hopefully, I hope you have people around you who are going through the same thing as well. That's a great idea, to gather people around that are going through the same thing, because they totally understand what you're going through. And sometimes it's hell, sometimes it's guilt-ridden, and sometimes it's amazing, uplifting and wonderful. And sometimes those times are few and far between. But I really want you to take care of yourself, have the conversation if you can, and really love who you are, because you're an amazing person. You are taking part of your life, giving part of your life. So fill you up first. Okay, take care. That's the Connection Cafe for this week. I'll see you next Wednesday at 9:30. Okay, bye.